Hello and welcome to SEO 101 on WMR.fm, episode number 469. This is Ross Dunn, CEO of Stepforth Web Marketing, and my co-host is my company's senior SEO, Scott Van Ack. How's it going, bud?
As always, it's going great. It's always going great. And if it was going bad, I'd say it's going great.
That's good. That's good. You're better at that than I am.
I can. Yeah, not going to say what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and although we don't talk weather, we were just both looking in abject misery. The fact that we're at these beautiful views from webcams of the ocean right now. We're both boaters, and it is. Well, you know what? We want to be nowhere else but here doing SEO 101, right?
No, I want us to be on the boat doing SEO 101.
Yes, there we go.
We'll just pack a laptop and a mic and just do it while we're fishing. That'd be the best.
You know what? We might have to try that. Seagulls in the background.
That could be fun, actually.
I'm sure it'll be very effective.
Yeah, it'll be terrible, but it'll be fun.
All right, well, let's jump into things as usual. No messing around here. So there has been a Google Search Console delay. I read a bit about this, but I know you're far more familiar with it. So why don't you jump in?
Yeah, so this is being fixed as we speak. So by the time you listen to this, it's probably already been fixed. But I like to point out these little things so people don't panic when they check Search Console and things look wrong. So there's been a bit of a delay, a latency issue with the Google Search Console search performance reports. So for the last few days, you might see, so the last few days being, around the 4th of July, you might be seeing sharp drops in traffic or impressions or clicks. But just know this is very likely related to the issue that Google is working to fix right now. And presumably when they get it fixed, that data will be backfilled. And so if you check in, a week or two, maybe you'll never even notice it. But if you see a big drop at the start of July, just know that it's quite likely related to this and you don't need to do anything.
Yeah, they're just trying to scare the pants off you.
Basically.
Yeah.
They do that all the time with every update. Yeah.
Yeah. The next bit of news you would probably have already noticed. Google has dropped continuous scroll in search results. This is a welcome change. I thought I would actually really like it, but I didn't. I mean, aspects of it I liked, but what we're talking about here is that when you could just keep scrolling and results just keep appearing instead of having actual page by page search results. I mean, obviously, we don't love change sometimes, and that wasn't a great change going into continuous scroll. But it was nice having pages and really seeing a delineation of content, making it more appealing and faster for downloads, all that sort of stuff. So anyway, Google has changed it. It's gone back to pages, which is great. Mobile will see it removed in the coming months. It's not done yet. This is mostly for desktop at this page. And compagination will return to replace this classic set of links at the bottom of results. To return. I'm not using words right today. The previous classic set of links at the bottom results. So you're going to still see that pagination thing at the bottom. I believe right now, is that active or is it just saying go to next page?
So a few days ago, it was like it was in the olden days. And then today I'm seeing continuous scroll again.
For Pete's sake.
So, and that's as of like 5 minutes ago. So I think maybe they're not fully rolled out yet and they're still working on it. I think that's what it is. Because I've seen both.
I've got pagination for me. So
weird. So it's not a Canada US thing then, unless you're traveling abroad and I don't know.
No, and it's funny. Like I decided to do a search. The immediate thing that came to my mind was Shelties. I know why. It's from this weird book I'm reading, but it's funny. They have lots of great information on Shelties, so there you go. Who knows? But anyway, yeah, it's paginated.
Weird. So we're a couple hours apart from each other driving, and we're seeing different results. So it must have to do with data center stuff or something. I'm not really sure.
Well, who is your internet provider?
Shaw.
I want TELUS. So there you go. So 2 different internet providers, and
weird, eh?
I guess that is enough. Very, very
for now.
Odd.
I know, it's cool. It's going away.
It is. I'm looking forward to it. All right. Tell us about the June 2024 spam update.
Yeah, so this is, no surprise to people. We see these kind of updates all the time, but I like to report on them because if your rankings crash near the end of June, maybe you've got some spam you don't know about. The update began June 20th. It took about a week, wrapped up on the 27th. Google stated that this is just your normal spam update like they do I think the last one was in the fall, if I remember right, or was there one earlier this year? Doesn't matter. The update, as always, targets sites that violate search spam policies. So if you want to know what those are, you can do a Google search for Google spam policies. There will be a link in the show notes as well for to make it easier for you to find that. Not a lot of other info is available at this time, and there probably won't be. It's just sort of your typical if you're doing all kinds of spamming with, like excuse me, like your old school like cloaking or bad automated content. If you're buying links and it's really obvious, you're breaking any of their many rules, you might have been in trouble there. But yeah, just your regular spam update, which is, I personally love them because we don't spam, our clients don't spam that we're aware of. Mm-hmm. So when this happens, if anything, it pushes our clients up a little bit. So I'm all for it. Let's just put a spam update out there every week.
Yeah, and even if they don't move, they just stay where they are in a good place. I love seeing the bad actors drop. It's just a wonderful thing. Yeah,
absolutely.
Doesn't happen enough though. There's still so many exploits that work with Google that there's a lot of these guys that are still hanging around and doing all too well. Drives me crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So AI overviews. This is something that everyone's gotten pretty familiar with. If you've been using Google recently, especially on desktop, you'll see typically what you would see is an immediate answer where they try to give you the answer to what you're searching for, and then they give you the links and stuff after, like those classic links, just in case they didn't nail it or you want to read more. They started testing. I assume this is a test. Does it say test? I guess
yes.
Yes. Yes, it is. Okay. A card-based system where they give 3 different answers for your research, for what you're searching for. Now, I'm certain that's only occasional. It's when it makes sense to provide 3 options. The one they used for an example here was someone searched how to fix crawled, currently not indexed. This is just I think actually we'll get into that in a little bit, but it's just a fairly technical search term. Well, maybe because it's so technical, Google offered 3 different cards from different websites you could click on to read more, and then they include some of the information below. And you can click show more, where you would get more of the answer directly from Google based on its AI. Again, I think it's probably because they aren't as certain about the answer. What do you think?
I'm not sure. I think they're just playing around with testing. It makes more sense to me that the cards will be above the content. So when they first rolled out AI overviews, these cards were below the content. So Google would summarize the AI overview, whatever that happened to be, and then they'd have those cards that link to wherever the source is below. I don't know. I don't know why. It may have to do with click-through rates or something like that, but it's definitely going to make SEOs and site owners happier because they're going to be more likely to attract those clicks, I would think, having their card above the content. It may, like you said, help to reinforce that, hey, if this data is wrong, blame these other guys. Don't blame us, maybe. If you don't put your source out there, it just looks like Google's an idiot. But if you put your source and the sources are idiots, well, I guess Google's still an idiot for publishing it, but at least they can say where they got it from.
Fair enough. All right. So this study is interesting. I did see this the other day and took a peek at it. Study is that 96% of sites in Google's top 10 positions have 1,000+ links from unique domains. Tell us a little about this.
Yeah, so that's, we know links help, and some people say links are dead. Well, they're not dead, and they're never going to be dead. And as usual, this is all about correlation, not causation. They can't prove in this study. This was done by Internet Marketing Ninjas. They can't prove necessarily that these links are why they're ranking, but let's be real. I mean, it matters. So what the test is they tested searches for 200 random commercial intent keyword phrases which consisted of 1,113 unique websites. Of those, 96% of those websites in the top 10 had more than 1,000 backlinks from unique domains, which is significant. That's a lot of links, especially if you're starting out trying to compete with that. 0.3% of those had fewer than 100 links, and nobody in the top 10 had less than 50. So get your links, people. If we dive a little bit deeper, of those 1,000 plus, 56 had over 1 million links. So those are, I don't have the list of all the pages, but I'm guessing there's some big players like Amazon or Reddit or, people like that are appearing in the top like crazy. Over 10, between 10 and 100,000 links, there were 36% had, between 10 and 100,000. So we're talking big numbers here. Especially seeing 0 to 50 domains, referring domains, nobody had that few. So if you have fewer than 50 referring domains, what this is telling me is you want to get into the hundreds, plural, at the very least, if you can.
Or higher quality.
Or higher quality, absolutely.
Yeah, because none of this is created equal. I mean, you get tens of thousands of links, but they're all crap. You might as well have none.
Yeah.
Or worse. If they're really bad. Okay, interesting. All right, well, let's jump into this next one, which is another study. Nearly 60% of Google searches end without a click in 2024. So this was a study by Rand Fishkin at SparkToro based on clickstream data from Datos, which is a SEMrush property. In the US, 58.5% of searches resulted in 0 clicks. So 37% did nothing. And they would just leave. 21% went and did another search. The other 41.5% resulted in a click. 70.5 went to unpaid organic results. So that's that's stuff that you can't pay for. You have to influence with great authority, great content, etc. 28.5% of the clicks went to Google properties such as YouTube, Maps, etc. And 1% went to paid ads. Now, the use of ad blockers may have messed with these calculations. I have a strong suspicion that that's true because, now 1% isn't an insignificant amount considering how many users there are, but
it should be higher.
Yeah, we know a lot. Well, we know our clients do very well with paid ads. We do a lot of paid ad management for them, and they do exceptionally well through it. So it is being used and makes people a lot of money.
Well, one thing that Rand actually, I forgot to put this in the notes, but one thing that Rand mentioned in the study itself is that, there are billions of search queries out there that don't serve ads as well. So, if some of those are in this study, that's going to skew that data as well. Because, if you think about it, people that are running paid campaigns might have a click-through rate of, well, let's just say 2%. Well, you can't have a click-through rate of 2% if only 1% of people are clicking on searches. So definitely, I kind of ignored that figure because it's obviously flawed. At least the paid ad click is flawed for sure.
All right. Interesting. Okay. What is this all about? So Google has explained the reasons for the statement crawled, not indexed. I wanted you to check this out. So tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah, so our good friend Gary over at Google was in an interview for SERPConf 2024 conference in Bulgaria. Never actually heard of that conference, but there we go. And he answered several questions. It's a pretty long video. The link is in the show notes. But one of the questions was, can crawled but not indexed be the result of a page being too similar to other stuff already being indexed? So we see that all the time in Google Search Console. You click on pages and you can see what's indexed and what isn't and why. And you see often you see a lot of data that's listed under crawled but not indexed. It's like, well, that's frustrating. Why aren't you indexing this? So his main takeaway on this or main piece of advice is a lot of this is related, but not necessarily related to a dupe elimination. So identical content may exist on another site that has better signals than yours, so they're not ranking your page. It could be content is similar to content already ranking in the SERPs, search and result pages. Those could be related to content syndication. There are lots of reasons why content may be duplicated across different sites legitimately and not. But those reasons can affect that. General site quality issues. There could be technical issues. There was one example he gave where a site was serving Google the same content for all the URLs, but only to Google. So Google thought every single page on the website was the exact same web page. So if there's a technical issue like that, that can happen. And so there are also multiple things that can cause this without diving a lot deeper. I know for a fact, like I've seen a lot of cases where you've got canonical pages that don't show up. Again, this is kind of the same as what he said with content is too similar. But let's say you have a product page and the URL changes based on the category that that product is listed into. Shopify does this quite a bit, which drives me bananas. So you'll have your main product pages /product/ name, but it'll also appear at /category name /product and if you've got it listed under a lot of categories, you could have that same product content at infinite pages really, but a lot of pages. So we'll often see situations like that. And that's fine. You don't need those pages indexed. You want the main one indexed. And usually that's what it is. Your main, again, in Shopify be /product/ page name. That's the one that you want indexed. And in most cases it is, but that's a super common reason. E-commerce stuff to see these or product variants are often set up as crawled, not indexed. So there are lots of reasons. It doesn't necessarily mean anything is bad, but certainly something you want to check periodically because it could be, if it's a technical issue that's causing it, you want to figure that out. So
interesting. All right. Well, I'm glad that was covered. We're going to take a quick break, and we jump back into this. We're going to be talking about a hack that is extremely damaging for local businesses and how to deal with it.
SEO 101 will be back right after recess.
Welcome back to SEO 101 on WMR.FM, hosted by myself, Ross Dunn, CEO of Stepforth Web Marketing, and my company's senior SEO, Scott Van Ack. Okay, so we've talked before about how a bad actor can, and we're not talking about some crap person in a movie.
But here we're going to go. I was waiting for the name.
Yeah.
Waiting for the name.
Yeah. Just trying
J-Lo.
to figure who. Yeah, maybe. Who is trying to harm your business or others on local businesses. What they can do is they can move your PIN. It's something that can be done through editing a profile. And unfortunately, I won't go on a rant because Google's just a mess as usual. They can move that PIN and put you anywhere they want. Some people have been put out in the middle of lakes.
Good place for walk-in business.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's not good for business. All of a sudden, Google thinks you're nowhere near where you're supposed to be, but they accept the change. That's the biggest problem. Anyone can do this. And when that's done, you disappear in rankings. Another way it can be done is if, and this was what happened to one of our great clients, is a bad actor took all of her site and all of her competitors and put them all in one building. And as a result of this, Google doesn't allow that many. Essentially, they're going to pick one business. If there's a ton of people in one place that all do the same thing, they're not going to allow them all to show up in rankings. They try to pick the winner. And that's one thing. So maybe one would make it out and do okay. The bad actor obviously did this to take them out of the running and rankings. In this case, our client was doing exceptionally well in rankings, and they were obliterated by this change. What can you do? Well, first of all, if this happens to you, document everything. The time you noticed it occurred, the other sites that were victims, if there are any requests you made to Google support to assist you. There's no harm in trying. I haven't heard great results in terms of anyone getting back to you, and it's infinitely frustrating. If anything, it just adds another reason for us to love Google more. And when I have a discussion with that, let's say it's you who had the issue, and when I have that discussion with you, we bond over our hatred. Anyway, everything needs to be documented, including screenshots. Take screenshots of your listing immediately. This is your Google business profile. Take a picture of it immediately when you see the issue and continue to do so anytime you see it change, positively or negatively. Next, there are forums you can go to discuss this. I'm paranoid. Like I want everything to work out perfectly. I don't want you to make a mistake and end up making this take longer and longer. I suggest contacting an SEO that does local SEO that you can trust. They will act on your stead to get the word to Google in the best way possible. I cannot highlight that enough. There are ways to do it wrong. And again, that can delay things. You've got to make sure the documentation's clear. You have to know who to contact, where to contact them, how quickly to do it. There's just a number of different things. And although you may walk out and do it right, again, if you do it wrong, you could be out weeks of business instead of just maybe a few days. And that's just terrible. I don't want to see any business in this situation, never mind extending it. Now, once you have engaged someone to help you or you've done anything, don't do anything else. If you've engaged a company like an SEO like us, don't do anything on your own because you have to rely on them to do it for you. You're giving them the situation to deal with. If you end up doing things at the same time, you can muddle things up and get things worse. In this last situation, the other person did do things. Unfortunately, it was a surprise to me. Fortunately, it didn't make anything worse. I was very grateful for that because I knew how important it was to her in this case. So just understand that it's not something they're going to do within 10 minutes. They're going to want to research, your SEO is going to want to research what the best path is to positive results because it changes. This is not something that there's a written manual for. Google's moving target. They want things differently. They want things clearly. There's different places to submit information. I just want to be sure that it's done properly. So I always do some research beforehand. Now, whatever you do, do not try to move the pin back to your location. I know that seems crazy. It should work. But if you do it, you need to know the risk. If you're trying to decide whether or not to do it, because there is a chance your whole listing will be suspended. It makes not a lick of sense, but it is happening enough that it's a significant danger. So do not do that. I strongly recommend not doing it. Also, don't attack publicly or privately the person you think is responsible for this. You could very well be wrong. And even if you're not, there's no way for you to prove it. You don't have Google's logs. You can't do that. Unfortunately, you're going to leave it to Google to handle this. And it's up to them if they choose to care and actually take it out on these, like properly shut down that person's account who did this malicious activity. Now, how can you avoid this? Many hacks can be avoided by having an SEO company monitoring and managing your Google business profile. We do this religiously for our clients. In this particular case, the client that engaged us isn't on a monthly plan, isn't doing any of that. But even in this case, well, I'll get to that. So many agencies like us can lock your business details. So if someone tries to change your phone number, change your hours so that you're closed all the time, change your phone number so it goes to them or it goes to a tanning salon instead of your business or whatever, there are so many different ways they can screw with things and you won't even know it until the damage is done. Well, in this case, we can lock that down so that if any changes are made, our system immediately replaces them with the proper information. Unfortunately, that doesn't yet include pin changes in the system we're using. So we're actually looking at a different one now, but that different one is Whitespark. They apparently, I have simply no data on this. I don't know whether or not it's working properly because I know it's brand new, but they have brought out something that will assist you with pin issues. I don't know whether it's just them alerting you that it's happened or whether there's a way for you to immediately fix it. I do remember reading something. I just can't remember exactly what it was. Anyways, I haven't used it, so I can't sanction it. commented on it anyways. But Whitespark is a great company, so I would check it out if you're really, really worried about this. Or leave it to us. Give us a call. Again, I'm going to make sure my clients are looked after. So if it means changing to them, we will. All right, that is it. Please do watch out for that. Your Google business profile is, well, in many cases, all of your business. I know countless companies that is everything to them. They obviously have referrals and business from walk-ins or and such like that, anything like that. But a big part of their business, their new business, comes from their Google business profile. So protect it, protect it, protect it. All right. The next piece here is, can AI perform technical SEO analysis effectively? Oh, I love this one. Scott, take it up.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about just using AI and asking questions and getting AI to do your SEO, you might want to wait. Well, I was going to say a few years, but the way AI is changing, who knows? It might be tomorrow. But James Allen over at Search Engine Land did a little test, and they had an article right up over there on this. And I thought it was interesting, so I wanted to share it. James was playing with GPT-4o to test its technical SEO abilities. So what he did was he crawled a sample website using Screaming Frog, and then he exported the internal all data, which is, if you use Screaming Frog, you can click on a tab called internal. You can right click on the word internal, and you can export all of that. That'll give you all the data that Screaming Frog has crawled, your page URLs, if they have canonical tags, the titles, the descriptions, just everything, like a whole whack of data. He exported that data from Screaming Frog to a CSV. Then he imported the CSV data into GPT and asked a simple prompt, looking at this Screaming Frog data, can you make any technical SEO recommendations to improve this website? So with that data and that prompt, AI did not provide anything specific that was helpful. Everything was generic and basically contained SEO 101 type suggestions, things like ensure titles are unique and ensure the canonical tags are set correctly. Just super generic SEO rules, nothing related to the content he imported. So then he took a different approach, and he tried a longer, more advanced prompt and asked it to highlight specific issues. And it was quite detailed. It was a huge paragraph. I'm not going to read it out because it's just boring, probably. I don't know, but he went really detailed into it. And he said, at a glance, the response he got back from AI looked impressive, and the recommendations appeared impressive until he actually read them and looked closely. And his comments were that it was a total mess and totally wrong. So that's encouraging. So his final verdict is essentially that GPT's advice is poor, misses key points, and is often mostly generic and unhelpful. Attempts for any sort of specific advice failed. So, this isn't surprising to me. I use AI now for snippets of content generation, for reorganizing data. Sometimes if you export something and it's ugly, it'll reformat it for you pretty. Like there's a million really good reasons to use it. For technical SEO analysis, we're just not there yet. It's not there yet. So my suggestion is sticking with either an SEO like us, or if you're going to use tools, use something like Ahrefs. We use SEMrush. You can use SEMrush. Their technical SEO recommendations are far better at this point. And actually, as AI advances, their recommendations are going to use that AI and just get better over time anyway. So AI is just not quite there yet. So there you go.
My heart breaks.
Yeah, I'm sure it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, and you know what? Even when it does get okay at that sort of thing, it might give some analysis. It might give you some tips. It's still going to be, I don't know, there's one thing that AI can't do, and the best experts in the world are saying this universally. It can't plan. It can tell you things based on what it knows, based on what it's been taught. But it's not a planning system. So it's just going to throw tips at you. It might find the odd thing that's interesting that you might find interesting if you know what you're looking at and you've got the experience. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing things I haven't thought of or seen before.
Totally.
But it's going to require a lot of education to know whether or not that's real. Like he said, it looks great, but it's crap. You may not know that. And I can only imagine how many people are getting screwed over by that. It's going to be very interesting.
It makes me think of people who are business owners who are just like, I'm going to do my SEO on my own. And then they find an article, maybe with no date, and it's giving advice on how to do SEO, but it's outdated. It's irrelevant. It's like, do meta keyword tags and hide text. Yay. They see this outdated content and they just assume it's current. And this is kind of the same, only maybe worse because it's AI and AI is so new. I would think a lot of people will see whatever advice they get from AI and immediately think this has to be gold because this is brand new tech that's giving it to us. It's just not the case. Or you really need to have background knowledge to essentially fact check what AI is recommending.
Yeah. And again, that's, I think, a good thing for many people and many industries, honestly, that are going to be affected by AI. No one wants to be eclipsed by something like that. And Scott and I've had many conversations about this. SEO is we can't see it being eclipsed simply because it's all if everyone's using the system, someone has to break the leveling of that play field, right? Otherwise, how is Google going to determine how they should be ranked? Yep. So we always need to give an extra edge, and that's always going to keep us busy. What we're going to be doing to do that is probably going to change, but who knows what? And that's part of what's exciting about what we do. That's what keeps everything interesting. But I don't know. I wish I could know exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be fascinating.
Oh, if we could only know, we'd be you'd be on the boat right now.
Yes, indeed. Oh man, wouldn't that be nice? Okay, but no, I'm happy. I'm here, and we're finishing a great show.
Yes.
So, on behalf of myself, Ross Dunn, CEO of Stepforth Web Marketing, and my company senior SEO, Scott Van Ack, thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions you'd like to share with us, please feel free to post them on our Facebook group, easily found by searching SEO 101 Podcast on Facebook. Have a great week, and remember to tune into future episodes, which air twice a month on WMR.fm.
Awesome. Thank you for listening, everybody.